Alright, this problem, or there's two problems here from the final review, and this is finding the equation of a line, and it's after they've given us some information. In this case, they've given us slope, which is -3/2, and they're giving us a point. Both cases were given a slope and a point. So this point is a very special point that makes our job easier. The linear equation that we are trying to make is y equals mx plus b. That is the slope-intercept form. And this is where m equals slope and b equals the y-intercept. So the equation itself is the slope-intercept form, and m is slope, or represents slope, and b represents y-intercept. So all we have to do is plug in what we're given. The slope is -3/2. So we say y equals -3/2. We don't need to fill in a value for the x or the y when we are just writing an equation. So that is the m, and that number is the whole m multiplied by the x. And then we're going to add our y-intercept. The y-intercept is where it's a point on the line where the line crosses the y-axis. So when the line that this equation demonstrates, or that this equation represents, when we build the line out of the points, out of various points x and y, that line will go across the y-axis at this point. And the reason I know that, because let's plot this point. The first coordinate is always x, the second coordinate is always y when we are plotting points. And that means that you start the x, they're referring to, we're going to move along the x-axis first, and we can either move to the right or the left, positive or negative. So it's saying we move 0 places, so we're right in the middle. We haven't finished building our point yet. That's not a point. 0 is just halfway to the point. The other halfway to the point is 8. We're going to go, and that's the y direction. In other words, we're going to move along the y-axis 8 steps. And so we're at 0, now we're going to go up 8, and this is our point that they are referring to. And it's on the y-axis, so it is in fact the y-intercept. It is b. So we put in 8. They don't want us to put in 0, 8. They just want the 8 for the equation. And then as a brief understanding of the lines in the equation, what's the relationship is that when you have a linear equation, you can make the entire line by filling in values for x and y. That means this, when I fill in a value of 1, then what I'm saying is if I fill in 1 using this equation, that'll give me the x or the y coordinate that goes with that x coordinate of 1. That means I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to go over 1. I'm going to find out using this equation which number to go to on the y-axis. When I solve for the y, that's when I'm finding out where I'm going on the y-axis. If I solve for x, then I find out where I'm going on the x-axis. But if I plug in 1 times -3/2 is just -3/2. So then we have -3/2 y equals, we're still just solving for y, plus the 8. Well, we can't have 8. We need it to be 16/2 so that we can add with common denominators, and then that will equal -13/2. That's a funny point, but what that means, -13/2 is really 6.5, because 2 into 13 goes 6 times, and it leaves 1/2 left over. So now we're going to go over 1, and we're going to go down because it's negative 6.5 places, and that will put us right there. And that's another point on the line. And that's how you know you're building the line that this equation represents. Over here, when the line passes through 0.72 and the slope is 0, the good news is whenever the slope is 0, that means we have a horizontal line. All we have to do is look at the y value, which is 2. We know that the line will cross at 2, and it'll just follow along that horizontal, and that's our line. And the equation is y equals 2. And why that is because the real equation, y equals mx plus b, whenever the slope equals 0, you're plugging in a value for m as 0. 0x and how this works is no matter what value of x that you plug in, like you say, okay, if I go x equal 3, if I'm going to go over here to x equal 3, where am I going to go? Up or down? If we plug in 3 for x, we get 3 times 0, and that's 0. So then it means that 0 plus b is y. So y equals b. That too. No matter what value of x, I'm always going to have y equal 2. If I say x is -1, -1 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 2 is 0. X is 4. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. So no matter where I go on the x, if I go 3 on the x, I go up 2, and I'm on that line again. If I go -1 on the x, I have to go up 2. I'm on that line again. If I go 4, you get the idea. So whenever they say slope is 0, the equation simply, you just look for that y value, and there's your equation.